Want to learn a trade or skill but have no one to fund it? PSL pays the full cost of your training for learning a trade or acquiring a skill. We don't pay school fees. We finance life-changing experience for definite optimists. Talk with PSL about it. Send us your name, email address, and location, as well as desired skill or trade to learn, name of your training provider, and the full cost of training. Send this on WhatsApp to 0810-2427-303. There is no hidden terms and conditions with PSL.
Okay, welcome back. I remain Francis Bestman Isugo, the founder of the Power 40 Scientific Trading School, the inventor of the Power 40 Scientific Trading Method using mathematical price sequence projections for entries. So right now, let's look at the market of 9th here. So the market of the 8th of June. That was after the weekend of the 5th of June, Friday closing and a Monday opening of the market. So let's look at how the market opened and then what happened at the end of the day, whether we found an entry or we didn't find an entry. Okay, so based on our rules, we want to first of all see the formation of two things, the buy and sell fib. Now if that delays, then we also want to see the formation of the buy and sell base. Okay, so let's look at when these two things formed. That is the first thing. Using the scientific trading method of the Power 40 Scientific Trading School, we have a simple formula for finding our entries. It is called observation, interpretation, and entry projection. So repeating this for reference purpose. So now, first we want to observe whether or not we have seen, that is what we are looking for, we have observed the formation of a buy and sell fib sequence. Then we also want to observe whether or not we have seen the formation of a buy and sell base. So it is after we've observed the formation, then we start looking for how price has behaved. Okay, that is the interpretation, or what has price done, what is price doing. When we can answer what has price done and what is price doing, we can then proceed to the last answer, which gives us the last part of our formula, E, that is entry projection. Okay, what will price do next? That is how we find our entry, when we can answer correctly what price will do next. And the purpose of using this formula is to achieve 100% accuracy. Okay, because if the observation is correct and the interpretation is correct, then it is expected that the entry projection should be correct. That is the scientific formula. Okay, it is like an experiment, a test, a retest, until you find a proof of consistency. Consistency results in what? Your theory. So that is what our entry projection means. It is a theory of what price is expected to do. So it is prediction. Okay, that has to be scientific, backed by experience or observation. So now let's look now whether we've seen the formation of a buy and sell fib. Okay, so first thing, what did we observe here? We've observed what? A bullish impulse. According to our standard, okay, in the Power 40 Scientific Trading Method, we have what we use to identify impulse, okay, and string. So we divide market events into impulse and string and breaks. So if you want to call them by their names as we observe, we will say that the Friday market ended with an impulse that got broken, then a break, an impulse, a break, an impulse. Okay, so you see, we are now reading just like you do in school: a break, an impulse, a break, and a string. So now we have seen an impulse and a string. We now have what is called the UEF, ultimate entry formula. So this entry formula states that whenever there is a break below the UEF, okay, that there is expected to be, in the previous case, it was a 300 pips. In the previous case, before the upscaling of the charting of gold, it was a 300 pips, okay? But the UF rule expects that price should correct, okay, 100% of the impulse that preceded the string, okay? So that is what a UF setup. Then it was initially 100 pips. Initially, UF rule was 100 pips. So when it has been upscaled, it means it can go above 100 pips. But here, the impulse is smaller. Let's look at that. The impulse is just about 4329 to the closing of that impulse break was 43 0.07. So that is about 100, and yeah, it beats the 100. Okay, that's about 100 and few pips. So that's enough for a UEF formation. However, the full correction of the impulse that preceded the string for the UEF setup has to also be fully corrected first of all. So it doesn't matter how long the impulse was, okay, or how wide it was. What matters is that it is corrected fully. So which means that from this point we'll be expecting that price is going to turn back up. And at the same time we saw the string, and that formed the first buy base of the day from the string. So you've seen a buy base, and then with the buy base formed, our next impulse that formed became what? The formation of our buy and sell fib. So we now have a buy and sell fib formation. So first observation is available. We have seen a buy, we have seen a sell, fib 0. Okay, so our fib sequence has formed when we found what? Our string and then our impulse. So now we have first observation. Next observation is we've not seen our sell. We've not seen our sell base, we have seen our buy base. So let's keep interpreting what we are seeing here. We have a break of impulse, a break, standalone, break, 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 impulse, break, impulse, impulse, break, 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 impulse, break, break, break. Okay, we are looking for a string that we can call our sell base. Okay, and then we saw a string. So that's our sell base formed. So now we have the two bases formed. We have the buy base and we have the sell base. Okay, so now that we have the two bases formed, our first observation has been met. The next thing is our rules application. Okay, rule application states that for every impulse that forms after a string, or every string that forms after an impulse where the order is set, okay, the fib 0, if it's a bullish impulse, must be higher than the buy fib 0. If it is a bullish string or impulse, must be higher than the sell fib. Okay, in every case there must be that higher buy fib and lower sell fib. So that's the first thing that makes the sequence correct. Then our projection can be done from that point. So from the buy fib, we should project a 100 pips, okay, to get our fib arrow. From the sell fib, we should project a 100 pips to get our fib L in the direction of the fib sequence formation. Okay, then we will also have a support for buy fib. We'll have a sell fib of the same direction, and sell fib will have a buy fib for the same direction. So we'll have a buy fib arrow and a sell fib arrow. We'll have a sell fib arrow and a buy fib arrow also. Now we want to observe where our fibs formed first and what happened when they formed. Okay, so first of all, our buy fib, our sell fib formed after the buy fib had formed. Okay, then what did market engage with? This was when we observed the formation. So at this point, we have seen the formation of the two. Okay, so from here downwards and upward, we are going to see the engagement of the fib sequences. So let's start from this point to observe. So where is our sell fib? Our sell fib is at 4294. 4294. So let's see that it was here. This is our sell fib. And looking at the market, where is our buy fib? Our buy fib is at 4319. 4319. Okay, exactly 4320. 4320. Okay, so here is our sell, our buy fib. Okay, and buy fib arrow, we mean our buy fib arrow backed by our sell fib arrow. Okay, then we have our sell fib backed by our buy fib L. So both are here. Now when the market starts engaging, okay, where did they start the engagement from? Let's look at that for the projection of the day. Market starts engaging with the sell fib because that was the fib that was broken first. Okay, so our sell fib L now give us an orientation that if the market broke the sell fib L first, even when it had not yet engaged with a buy fib arrow, okay, at 20 buy fib arrow, if you notice at this point there was yet no engagement after formation, because formation was here of our fib sequence, so no engagement yet until the first engagement of our sell fib, which now give us a trajectory for projection of the day. Okay, so now this is the break of our sell fib, calling us to look for sell entries only. Now based on this break, our rule says that after the first break, if you wanted to sell, okay, we're going to place an entry when the market returns below. Okay, so this was the break, market went back to break inward, okay, and then in returning back to break outward, we are going to sell. So here we would have placed a sell, let's call it what it is. We would have placed a sell here on this candle's opening, okay, and then a sell limit, that's what we're calling it. So that would have been at 4294 based on fib. Okay, then that also means that we are going to place another sell here, because if the price is going to engage our buy or sell fib L, is also going to engage our buy fib L. Remember, the same thing applies. So if price is going to engage our buy fib arrow, it's also going to engage our sell fib arrow. So those two levels become limit order levels. Okay, so here when we see a break here, we can place a buy limit order, and then here will become a buy limit order too. Same thing applies here. When we see a break here, this will be a sell limit order, and here will also become a sell limit order, right? So here, let's look at what happened first. So this was a sell limit based on the fib arrow, fib L here. Okay, so we have seen the first break, market broke inward, and then coming back to break outward, we are going to sell. So that is what price did here. It came back and broke outward. Okay, this was the break outward. This is supposed to be the entry, so we place a sell limit here, and then by that default we are going to place a sell limit here also. So two levels of sell. So right now, this was the first sell limit. The market only drifted from 4295 and got down to 4273, so just 200 pips and bounced. Okay, so what is the price bouncing on? If we want to call that exactly what it is, the price is bouncing on, let's look at the string at 4304. The price is bouncing on the deviation limit, which means the price is rejecting the break of the deviation limit. So the first time it engages the deviation limit, the next time it engages the deviation limit. Then what is down here that the price hasn't engaged yet? This is our sell fib 10 times 5L. Okay, sell fib 10 times 5L, which is the average price of the full fib sequence for the sell fib 0. Okay, so because the full fib sequence is 1000 pips, the average price has to be 500 pips. Okay, so this is not yet engaged. Why? This has been engaged. The deviation limit has been engaged and rejected, not yet broken, so not giving us a trend direction, because our deviation limit break will now give us a sell direction for a trend of the day. So not yet broken means we don't have a sell trend yet, but we only have a fib sequence entry here. Okay, because fib sequence anticipates what? The deviation limit. That's why we call it pre-DL entry levels. Okay, that's entry levels that come before the break of the deviation limit. That is what pre-DL means, prior or previous to deviation limit break, pre-DL. Okay, so here we only have entries based on anticipation of break of deviation limit. Now when we saw the first break of the sell fib L, there was no break of the sell deviation limit at the same time. Okay, which in this case, this is a buy based deviation, okay, limit. You know, whenever a buy based deviation limit breaks, then we start talking about sell projection in a trend direction. Okay, whenever what? A buy based or a sell based deviation limit breaks, we start talking about what? A buy, okay, move. So let's look at what happened afterwards. So this was the rejection of the deviation limit, returning now to break inward of the sell fib L and continuing breaking inward of the buy fib L. Okay, so and we are now expecting the return back to break outward of the sell fib L okay, or go to engage the buy fib arrow to break outward, okay, before coming down also to engage the sell fib arrow, because we only begin to consider the fib sequences when their fib arrow has been broken. That direction becomes the direction of entry. Until that first break, okay, has occurred, we cannot start taking an entry in that direction. So now let's see what happened next. We are still yet here, we are still around here. So let's base on what happened next. So what happened next was price went up and engaged with the sell fib, okay, arrow, okay, and at the same time the buy fib, okay, 10 times 5 arrow. So these are the two levels here. Sell fib arrow and buy fib 10 times 5 arrow we are engaged with. Now, price rejected them the first time because they already exist in this case here. These are the two levels that are close to each other here. Sell fib arrow and the buy fib 10 times 5 arrow are close to each other, though parallel. So when the price pumped up, it saw them engage them, okay, it did not break upward, showing that the interest is still on a downward move. Then returning back down. Which level is it engaging with here? This is the sell fib 10 times 5L. Okay, no, that is still far from it. Yeah, so this is the sell fib 10 times 5 arrow, rather. Sell fib 10 times 5 arrow. Okay, this is already existing, just like the buy fib 10 times 5 arrow is existing. Okay, this is the buy fib 10 times 5 arrow. Why this is what? The sell fib arrow, and this is what? The buy fib arrow. So these are the four levels here that the price engaged with. So when the market pumped up, it first of all engaged here, made an attempt to break, engaged here. Okay, so sell fib arrow, sell fib 10 times 5 arrow, then engaged the sell fib arrow, and then engaged the buy fib 10 times 5 arrow at the same time. Reaching them, the price could not break above them, so it rejected. That's what explains this coming back down. Okay, in engaging them, it came down, okay, closed below a previous trend line. So closing below a previous trend line, the new candle that opened tried also to make the same move, engaged the same previous trend line, broke, tried to break sell fib 10 times 5 arrow, couldn't, and then closed shallow above, and then returning back down to close below. So now coming back down, it's avoided going back up because of the engagement and rejections happening up there. Coming back down, it broke here. This is the buy fib, okay, this is buy fib L existing here, broke, but remember we are waiting for the break out, okay, we have already seen a break in, so we are waiting for a break out of the sell fib L. So when the market came back and broke out of the sell fib L, we got our entry for a sell. So here now, as soon as we saw the breakout, we are now placing a sell limit at 4294.71. Sell limit placed, and then the market, of course, would find a way to activate that entry. Maybe it did, maybe it did not, if we are looking at it from after the event has occurred. But when the event is live, we could tell whether it did or not. So how we find out would have been to go to a lower time frame and check that how this candle that closed behaved. Definitely it would have engaged, okay, because if you notice, it went up at a point and then closed below. All right, so would have engaged, and then coming back down, we now see the move that came to do a second test of the buy deviation limit, so buy base deviation limit, and did not break, which shows that the deviation limit is holding true to support a buy projection, yet not breaking for the sell projection. Okay, why? Because it has not formed a sell base yet. So bouncing up means I cannot start breaking when I've not seen a counter base formation. So it bounced up and then from a new impulse, engage again with the sell fib L, at this time we have seen this rejection, we are now maybe accepting that this is going to be a pullback to the upside to form what, a buy or a sell base. Okay, so we would have expected that a sell base would, anyway, the rule says that a sell base will form above a buy base. Okay, so that is because of the order, just like we do in a fib sequence, that the buy fib 0 should be above the sell fib 0 for a proper order, right? So here will be too low for a sell base to form accurately. Okay, so here formed an impulse, not a base. The next was a break, and then a base was formed. So finally we have a sell base now countering the buy base that has formed earlier. So both bases now existing, we are looking at where is our entry going to come from. So our entry now will be which of the deviation limits we break first. Market has engaged the buy deviation limit, or has not yet engaged what, the sell deviation limit. Okay, so but now the sell base has formed. So sell base itself becomes an entry level if broken outward and then come back to break inward and reject. Okay, so let's see what happened here. Now our attention has shifted firstly, okay, towards the base formation. But while the base was forming, market has gone back to break outward of all 3 or 4 levels here, which is the buy fib arrow, the sell fib arrow, the buy fib 10 times 5 arrow, and the sell fib 10 times 5 arrow. 4 fib sequences broken first. Okay, so now we move towards what happened after the break of the buy fib arrow. So remember that in the buy fib sequence we have seen a break outward. Okay, we expect that for us to buy, we are going to see first a break inward and a return to break outward, then we place a buy limit. Okay, so we have seen a break outward. Then what happens next? We are waiting for a break inward to happen, so our rule will be justified. So coming back down, we saw a break inward. Okay, so this break inward now meant that we are going to expect for us to buy, there has to be a break outward, then we place a buy limit. Okay, and remember that once we are placing a buy limit on the buy fib arrow, we are also going to place a buy limit on the sell fib arrow, because those 2 levels are conjoined levels. They might be separate, but they function in the same way. Okay, so they are both limit order entry levels. So now we saw the break outward of the buy fib arrow, corresponding with break outward of the sell fib arrow, though 2 different candles did the break. So the first candle broke only the sell fib arrow and also the buy fib 10 times 5 arrow. The next candle broke what, the buy fib arrow, okay, which corresponds with the previous break of the sell fib arrow and the buy fib 10 times 5 arrow. So breaking outward. Now the next thing for our rule is to see back a break inward. So in this case, it is what is happening live that we are trading, not what has happened before. So what happened next is a break outward. The mindset here can be altered. Okay, the mindset here can be looking forward to, okay, if there is a break inward, then there should be a rejection of possibility of break back outward. Okay, if there is break back outward and we have already taken an entry for a break inward, then it means we are going to be selling down, okay, with a sell limit. This should have been an earlier sell. Why would we be considering that? Because based on fib sequence, we had seen a previous break outward of what, a sell fib before what, a buy fib. You see that, right? So if this happened first, our projection rule says that we should trade in the direction where the first sequence break occurred, and it happened at the sell fib L, corresponding with the buy fib L. So the L broke before the arrow, so which means our ultimate projection would be what, a sell. But right now, the current rule of what is happening, as you remember, we say what has happened and what is happening, they both go into what, observation. So here what is happening has said that there is a break outward of a buy fib arrow, and finally there is a break, okay, inward. Break outward happened, then break inward has happened. Next thing for a buy will be what, a break outward. So did a break outward again occur? Here there was no break outward. Okay, so the market stayed inward, finding it difficult to break outward. Here we would have expected that selling would have come in here. Unless a breakout would occurs, then a buy will start coming in again. So what happened next? This is what happened next. Okay, so what happened next is a break outward happened. So break outward again means that we are going to place a buy limit at this point because there was a break. If there was no break outward, market should have just been what? A go up, reject, and come back down to close, okay, inward, so that we can be selling. So this one, if we place a sell here, we're going to have our stop loss set. Okay, so let's look at the stop loss from this level. We cannot use a large stop loss, so let's use 50 pip stop loss. So 4319, 50 pip stop loss will be 4324. Okay, so which will come around here. 4324 comes around here, and there is a level there. So which level is at 4324? Let's look at that. Okay, that is the pre-DL sell entry level. Okay, pre-DL sell entry level 1. If we check that, we can see that that's what is there. So buy, base, sell, pre-DL. You can see that, right? So it's the pre-DL sell entry level. That's what is there. All right, so this is a pre-DL sell entry level, which also corresponds with before the break of deviation limit for a buy base. As you can see here, this buy base was not broken. Its deviation limit was not broken. That's what we mean. Okay, so this is a pre-DL. So based on all the sell levels available, this is a sell level up here. Okay, so what happened at this point when there was a break inward that corresponded with the sell? Price went up and engaged with a sell pre-DL, okay, and then rejected. So that rejection now, okay, was not strong enough to push this candle back to break inward. Okay, so at this point of breaking outward, this is the entry candle for a buy limit. You can see that, right? Because this was the break outward, then a buy limit will be set here. Okay, so this candle finally comes back, tests and picks in, okay, the entry for a buy limit. And this buy limit, where is it headed? First of all, we want to see the deviation limit, because the essence of fib sequence is to trade in a direction towards test of deviation limit before the break of deviation limit. That's the essence of fib sequence. While the deviation limit break gives us a trend projection, okay, while the fib sequence entries give us what? First projection towards its corresponding base deviation limit and its own average price, which we call 10 times 10 times 5, either arrow if it is a fib, if it's a buy fib 0 sequence level we are looking at, okay, or the 10 times 10 times 5 L of a sell fib 0 if it is a sell fib sequence we are looking at. So in this case, this is a buy fib sequence fib arrow that we are seeing and a buy limit here. So it means that this trade is projecting towards what? The deviation limit, okay, and also the average price. So where is the deviation limit? Of course, we have seen the formation here. So the deviation limit will be at 4355, okay, for the buy limit entry taken at this point, 4355. So this is the entry from 4320. So that's 350 pips, because this is where the entry is. Okay, 350 pips profit target to the deviation limit. Okay, then we're going to use 50 pips stop loss in this case. So our loss size for this level will be 0.01. 50 pips risk will be $5 against what? A $30 profit. So that's 1:6 risk to reward ratio based on this very entry. Okay, now why we are not projecting trend in any of these fib sequences? Because there is yet no break. So when we do a trend projection, we have to do 1,000 pips. Okay, so we can do 300 to 500 pips because of fib sequence. Okay, levels that have not been engaged or broken yet. So, and if you see here, the sell fib 10 times 10 times 5 L has not been broken, neither or has it been engaged. Same applies to the buy fib. Okay, so both are still untested levels that are waiting to be tested. So we are going to trade in either direction based on what we see happening. So here we see a buy limit happening and it's activating a buy limit and it's moving in a buy direction, just as we saw here. Okay, so what happens next? The market starts turning up and is looking like it doesn't want to stay up towards the profit target of 4355. So market moved in that direction until we exited. Okay, so let's call it what it is. This market was a two-way market, so what they usually call a sideways market, not a trend market, because there was no deviation limit break, neither was there an engagement of any of the average prices for the fib sequences. So this was how the day for 8th of June 2026 went. Applying our rules, there was no trend projection for the day. So how do we do this? Okay, how do we do this? Entry projections are usually trend projections. We apply the Power 40 scientific trading method. So if you want to be able to do this on your own, then you need to attend our PSL luxury trading weekly master classes. Okay, by enrolling for it. When you enroll for it, we're going to train you for 1 week. Okay, how to understand applying our rules to doing it yourself. But this masterclass was designed for training those who will work as professionals in PSL co-work network. Okay, so we have our PSL co-work hubs or co-work spaces for those who are trained through the masterclass enrollment. So if you would like to work with PSL co-work network as a trained professional who will be helping our DFY stakeholders in our Cash App A1 community handle their portfolio, that is what we do. That is one of the services, okay, of training people through our weekly master classes. Then enroll for the PSL luxury trading masterclass. Yes, that is where you can master this and do it on your own when working as a trained professional. But another reason why you want to enroll in the masterclass is if you want to master this method of the Power 40 scientific trading method, okay, method from the Power 40 scientific trading school. There are two ways. You can either enroll for the masterclass. Okay, we can give you access to the masterclass for yourself as a DIY stakeholder, which means you want to learn because you want to apply it on your own with your own funds, but following our guidance or templates, okay, when doing it yourself. You see that when we do the observation, it has to be thorough. We do not skip anything, neither do we assume or presume. Okay, we follow facts, evidence before us, because this is scientific trading method. This is not technical analysis or fundamental analysis or sentimental analysis. This is event-based or experience-based observation. Okay, then we interpret the observation based on pattern formation from observation and relationship, okay, of patterns. Then we now do entry projection. If we have a correct observation and interpretation, we should have what? A correct entry projection, which becomes what? The speculative direction or bias of trading a trend for the day. So if you want to master this, then enroll for our Power 40 scientific trading school. Okay, enroll in our Power 40 scientific trading school or enroll in the PSL luxury trading world masterclass. So either ways, we can see you do this on your own. Otherwise, join the $100 seed funding program where we do it, okay, guiding you in a 90 days mentorship program. In the 90 days mentorship program, we guide you to do it alongside us. So that becomes cooperative, okay, and collaborative. Okay, that is where the $100 seed funding program comes in. So make your choice, right? Get in touch with us. If you want to join the $100 seed funding program, then send us your name, your email, your location, and your occupation on WhatsApp to 0903-428-4705, 0903-428-4705, 0903-428-4705. That is from the PSL Luxury Trading Lifestyle, okay, or PSL Luxury Lifestyle brand. PSL Luxury Lifestyle brand is bringing you the $100 seed funding program, also in collaboration with the Power 40 Scientific Trading School, because that is a method we use to give all participants in our $100 seed funding program the ability to grow, okay, a comparative and competitive income stream from the activities of the global financial market that serves as a better alternative for putting in a huge fund into real estate, okay, property development, constructions, okay, and lease. So before you put in a large fund into purchasing land, building a property, maybe the lowest property you can build will be a fleet, okay, or a block of flats, okay, and start with 1-bedroom flat. If you try 4 units of 1-bedroom flat in a good area where you can charge a rent of 1 million naira, it will cost you about 28 million naira investment, right? So our program says before you commit 28 million naira, why not try the 100 seed funding program? Because your 28 million naira is only going to fetch you 4 million naira in rent per year. Okay, if you put in all that fund into developing your property, right? Then $4 million naira in rent per year is equivalent of 380,000 naira monthly income. So from your 28 million naira, you are generating 380,000 naira monthly income. Whereas with $100 in the $100 seed funding program, through our $5,000 equity, okay, funding in your own account through your $100 seed, we are helping you to generate $200, okay, bi-weekly income. Add that in a month, that is $400 bi-weekly income minimum. Okay, that is well above 400,000 naira from what? Just your $100 seed. So think critically, which will you choose first? Will you rather sink in 28 million naira into a building, okay, or to wait for 6 to 9 months, okay, for the building to be ready, commercialized, and then start getting rent, okay, after about period of, let's look at that, 6 to 9 months? You have not earned anything, you have only been spending. Whereas if you had started the first week of attending the 100 seed funding program, you could have been generating already $100 per week, okay, $100 per week. Which one would have served you better? So make the choice. If you want to choose the 100 seed funding program, then send us your name, your email, your location, and your occupation on WhatsApp to 0903-428-4705. See you when you join us this coming Friday. Welcome.
Okay, let's look at the new venue for our $100 seed funding program. So this is the new venue for our $100 seed funding program. We are looking at accommodating 40 persons here. So we have table of 4. So table of 4, this is a row of 3. So let's look again. This is another row of 3. So 24 already. Then we have another row of 3. And lastly, we have another row of 3. So 48 already here. So we have ample space here for our $100 seed funding program. $100 seed funding program. This is the next venue for our $100 seed funding program. So one of the interesting things about this program is after the Friday event, we'll begin to have regular usage of this venue. That is why we choose multiple and new venues. So after the first Friday of attendance, we begin to have daily usage for those around. So we get to new venues so that we can get closer to people in that area. So far, we are setting up new spaces in line with the mission and vision of PSL Co-work Network. So new workspaces sort of for those who have been part of the $100 seed funding program. So this will be the next space for those who will attend their first Friday live event for the $100 seed funding program in this new venue. So if you have never been part of the $100 seed funding program, and if you are hearing about the $100 seed funding program for the first time, then make this venue your own venue. Yes,
So this venue is located at Harcourt Place, the Harcourt Place, Igwuruta, the Harcourt Place, Igwuruta, Port Harcourt. So you can be part of those who will attend the next $100 seed funding program at this venue, which means that you are able to come here daily afterwards, unless you join our online community if you are far away, but you are able to attend the first $100 seed funding program at this venue. So we are looking forward to receiving you. Come next Friday. All our old venues are currently servicing those who have attended the $100 seed funding program there. So we don't congest any venue. That is why we move to new venues until we cover the whole of Port Harcourt. Then we move to all other cities, one after the other. So this is time for Port Harcourt. So if you are in Port Harcourt, you are a landlord in Port Harcourt, you are a first-time homeowner in Port Harcourt, you are planning to become a big and full-time real estate investor in Port Harcourt, and also you are a landlord in any other part of Nigeria, you want to make a substitute income, yes, or alternative income that beats the same amount you expect in revenue from real estate investment in block of flats. Yes, let's say you have a block of flats that has 4 units of 1-bedroom flats. Okay, the potential rent from that asset is 4 million naira per year. That is where each unit generates 1 million naira in rent. If you multiply it by 4, that means 4 million naira in rent per year. Then also, if you divide it by 12, that means you are generating 380,000 naira per month. So if that is what you expect to generate from a block of flats, and the budget for such a place where you are generating that amount in rent must be not less than 28 million naira. So it means the money down, the margin is 28 million naira, the money you put down, okay, in your property as an investor in real estate is 28 million naira to generate monthly revenue, okay, as returns on investment in real estate property of 380,000 naira. Now, in the $100 seed funding program, which is the better alternative, you don't need to spend 28 million naira before you start generating monthly revenue of same 380,000 naira. In fact, you are going to generate more than that, yes, and we are proving it consistently, consecutively. So we kept a benchmark of 400,000 naira for your $100 seed. So reserve your money that you are intending for real estate investment until you have participated in the $100 seed funding program. And that is why this $100 seed funding program is for you. If you are an intended landlord, if you are a first-time landlord, and if you want to try an alternative to making ends meet, any stable income from real estate, the better alternative is the $100 seed funding program. The $100 seed funding program. So to participate in the upcoming $100 seed funding program live event on Friday, send your name, your email, your location and occupation on WhatsApp. Send your name, your email, your location and occupation on WhatsApp to 0903 428 4705. 0903 428 4705. I will reserve your spot for you. If you are coming from far, we always use venues that have ample space for accommodation. Okay, so we have accommodation for you. Budget 100,000 naira for these venues accommodation. Budget 100,000 naira for these venues accommodation for 2 nights. Yes, that means you arrive on Thursday, you sleep over till Friday, and you retain the lodge till Saturday and depart on Saturday. Unless you want to spend 3 nights, which means you'll be enjoying double nightlife experience for Friday and Saturday and depart on Sunday. Okay, then you can budget 150,000 naira. Otherwise, budget 100,000 naira for your accommodation and come along with your $100 seed for getting onboarded in the $100 seed funding program. It is this seed
that qualifies you for the funding of $5,000. It is $5,000 that we help you manage for the period of 90 days through our mentorship in the Power 40 Scientific Trading School. Okay, so through our mentorship in the Power 40 Scientific Trading School, we help you manage the funds of $5,000 not in our own account but in your own account. So we onboard you with your $100 with our finance partner. After onboarding you, you get verified, your account gets created and then funded by our finance partner with $5,000 because you have committed your $100 for the onboarding. So once you have been onboarded, you now have $5,000 equity capital to use in joining our mentorship for 90 days, during which you are expected to generate consistent 400,000 naira monthly as the benchmark. More profit on that will mean we are going to celebrate more. Okay, so we also have the potential to get more than that. However, we kept it at the lowest end, which is 400,000 naira per month, because we want it to be even with what you expect from your investment in real estate, and expect that it saves you over 28 million naira, just for being part of the $100 seed funding program as a landlord in Port Harcourt or landlord in any part of Nigeria, or a first-time homeowner or a real estate investor or an aspiring homeowner. Okay, so choose the $100 seed funding program. It is brought to you by the Power 40 Scientific Trading School. And I am Francis Bestman Isugu, the founder of the Power 40 Scientific Trading School, the inventor of the Power 40 Scientific Trading method that is used during the $100 seed funding program. And also, the same method is used to help our stakeholders in the Cash Swap A1 community, both DIY and DFY stakeholders, to earn their monthly income. Okay, that has been accelerated also. In previous videos, I have shown you what the accelerated plan is, like for those who are stakeholders or those who still want to become stakeholders. That means those who don't want to do it themselves, that means you need a minimum stake of $200 for us to be the one to do the work for you. And how do we do the work for you? In the Power 40, in the PSL co-work network, we train professionals, okay, who substitute for people who cannot do it themselves, and then we fund them to do it for you. That means we are the ones now paying you 20% of your stake amount. So you are permitted to have multiple stakes, $200 up to 36 units of $200. Okay, that's to meet your current financial capacity. So if you can go for more stakes, we advise you to go for more stakes because it allows you to enjoy more returns in a monthly payout of 20%. But with the accelerated plan, you can actually get paid out earlier so that you can renew your stake more than 2 or 3 times within the same year. So if you do not have the time, okay, to attend the $100 seed funding program, then remember that in the Cash Swap A1 community, we have the opportunity for you to become a stakeholder as a DFY stakeholder. That means it is done for you. You leverage the trained professionals in the PSL co-work network who work for you. Okay, and remember, this venue was set out, created and chosen for the sake of professionals who are trained in the PSL co-work network. And that is why those who attend the $100 seed funding program are potential professionals who will join PSL co-work network and earn their own income for themselves. So choose whether or not you can participate. If you can participate, then you only need $100 seed. But if you cannot participate, you want it done for you, then you need $200 stake. Okay, so there's a difference between the seed and the stake. Now, if you are going to be participating as a stakeholder, it means you are going to pay the enrollment fee for the training of the professionals who will fill the gap for you. And the enrollment fee is $80. So your first stake will be $280. Then if you want to multiply your stakes, it means that you will need to pay for the enrollment of each new person for every new stake. So if you add 10 stakes, you are going to pay $80 times 10 because you are going to train 10 unique individual professionals to handle your stakes for you. That way, you are enjoying accelerated payout. So I remain once again Francis Bestman, the founder of PSL Co-work Network, PSL Luxury Lifestyle brand, Power 40 Scientific Trading School. I hope to see you in the oncoming $100 seed funding program. Send us your name, your email, your location, and your occupation on WhatsApp to reserve your spot. Send to 0903 428 4705. 0903 428 4705. See you coming Friday. Okay, so this is what nightlife feels like in Port Harcourt, and this is our venue. Just like we mentioned, you can see that we are at the venue for our $100 seed funding program, and this is nightlife at the same venue where you will be coming to learn from us. Yes, how to create alternative income for yourself, alternative to real estate investment that saves you over 28 million naira. So this is nightlife. You have many more places to go when you come around. So if you are coming from Lagos, from Abuja, from Kano, from Benin City, from Asaba, and from Owerri, Umuahia, Calabar, Uyo, you name it, you have a nightlife in Port Harcourt waiting for you. So come ready to enjoy the vibe of Port Harcourt nightlife and also to participate in a $100 seed funding program. So come along with your friends, invite your friends who can be part of the program. The seats are limited to only 40, so book your seats early so that you don't miss out this coming Friday. Yes, the $100 seed funding program is for you. Wait to see you when you come. Okay, so let's go into what we are talking about, the Port Harcourt $100 seed funding program. We are still coming live.
How we work in 5 minutes. So welcome to the Power 40 Scientific Trading School, and here is a brief on how we work. So my name is Francis Bestman Isugo. I am the founder of Power 40 Scientific Trading School, and you will be getting access to the Power 40 Scientific Trading lessons, which is what we abbreviate as PSL. Then you will also be part of the Power 40 Scientific Trading community, which we now call the PSL Luxury Lifestyle or PSL Luxury Trading community. Then you will be part of the PSL Luxury Lifestyle brand and potentially become a member of PSL Co-work Network. How all of this starts is simple. So firstly, you are interested in learning the Power 40 Scientific Trading method. So you are going to start with a deposit of $200. This is a payment you make forward that is going to cover your full first month of training. It is not a school fees. It is not money that you cannot get back. It is rather like a commitment to learn, so that you don't take your learning like it's not serious, right? You don't skip your task and all that. So now when you make your deposit, which is a starting point, we are going to do a few things for you. Firstly, we are going to guide you to open your practice account. Your practice account is an account that you will use to follow up with the lessons you learn, the Power 40 Scientific lessons. Okay, you are going to use your practice account to follow up on your own. So we are going to give you the account broker or the financial institution you open that account with and guide you to open the account. That will be your practice account as you start learning. Then we are going to give you access to 4 main lessons in the first module. Okay, 4 main lessons in the first module. You will not make any payment for these 4 main lessons, or the 4 first lessons in the first module. You will not make any payment for these 4 lessons. So these are going to be video tutorials, and we are going to expect you to replicate what you learn from these videos in your practice account and show us how you are able to apply that. Now, when you have started your practice account, okay, you have started showing activities in your practice account, we are now going to open a training account for you.
Then this training account, we are going to give you a task that you are going to perform on the training account. Because this training account is coming with a fund that we provide, we are going to give you our rules on how to perform the task on the training account. Now, the training account is different from your practice account. We create the training account for you while we guide you to create your practice account for yourself. So, in the training account, we are going to expect that you will follow our rules to the letter. You will not do anything on your own. You will not act impulsively. Anything that you feel like doing on your own, you can do it on your practice account. We want to see how diligent you are in following rules in the training account. Now, if you follow the training account rules and we see that you pass all the criteria for training, then you are going to be qualified for working with us. So through your training performance, you will become a member of the PSL co-work network where you begin to work for us. So because you have passed our training, we are now going to pay you back, okay, the $200 initially deposited. That is how we now confirm that you are ready and you are mature to work with us. So you can now use the $200 we pay you back to start enrolling in the rest of our lessons. Our lessons cost $5 per day. So you see, before you make any payment that you are paying for lesson, you have already got access to the lessons, the first 4 modules, or rather the first 4 lessons of the first module. You have also shown that you are ready to be trained, that you are trainable or you are teachable. You have passed our training, okay? Then we are ready to give you access to our full course, which is our lessons, okay? So now you have passed your training. You are now having access to our lessons because our lessons are elite lessons. We reserve it for only people who we have qualified as able to be committed. So we do not want just anyone who is interested in trading who can learn on YouTube videos. So people are shopping for methods, okay, and they just come to register. We don't accept everyone on that ground of initial interest. You must pass our training before you get access to our training modules. Okay, so now the training qualifies you to work for us once you've passed our training. That is why, because you will now work for us, we refund you your security deposit of $200. Okay, now we are now taking you as a worker, a member of PSL Co-work Network. Now, at that point, we create 3 client accounts for you. 3 client accounts for you. Now, it is from this client account that you will start getting paid as a worker, not just a trader. Okay, so you get paid weekly $50. Weekly $50. Okay, so this is how we pay you for working with us in the client account that we have opened for you. Now, all client accounts will bear your name, but we are opening them for you so that we can manage the funds we put in there. Your job is to follow our instruction just exactly the same way you follow the instruction to pass the training. You must continue to follow the instruction, okay, so that you get paid weekly, because we cannot risk our clients' funds. So now you see, you did not just come to learn from the PSL or Power 40 Scientific Training School. You actually qualify to work for us and you become a trained professional who we can now trust that our clients' fund will be well managed, okay, because you have proven that you can follow rules. And this simply keeps you bound to us. It's now a long-term relationship, not just a student-school relationship. So working with us now earns you weekly income, $50 per week. And that means every month we are getting approximately $200, all because you passed your initial training with us. So starting with your first $200 security deposit, it shows your commitment to the program you are enrolling for. And because of that, we are able to guide you to create your practice account. Now we also give you 4 first lessons in the first module that you watch the videos and you apply in your practice account and send us your own activity report so that we see that you are doing this on your own. We want to see how able you are going to follow our lessons. Okay, now our lessons have already been created as video lessons, which means it's self-paced. You can learn on your own, learn at your own pace. So we did not create the lesson so that we'll always come and be instructing every student. No, we created the lesson so that it will be easy for you to follow it up on your own at your own pace. But we want to see commitment, and because of that commitment, we still put you under training. So once you have followed the first 4 lessons and have sent us reports, we see that you are a learner, you are able to understand what you are learning, we now put you on training proper. So during training proper, we create a training account for you and we fund it. Okay, so the fund in the training account is our own fund, and you are expected to follow our rules to the letter during the training, because during the training you are on pre-qualification, which means we are testing you to see whether you will be qualified for working with us or not. Now when you pass the training, we have now certified that you are ready to join the PSL co-work network. We refund you back your security deposit of $200, and then we create 3 client accounts for you. These 3 client accounts will bear your name, okay? And then we now start funding this client account according to our daily task. You perform this task throughout the week and you qualify to get paid $50 per week. So at the end of the month, you are earning approximately $200 from us. And you now see that you're working with us earns your income that covers for your personal training, learning the remaining 27 lessons, okay, in our 4 modules in the Power 40 Scientific Trading School. That is why we say that there is no school fees. You learn at your pace, okay? 1 lesson per day. So at the end of the day, from working with us, you earn the income that covers for your daily lessons. So it doesn't look like you are paying us to learn. We have made our training available to people who are useful to us, who will be working with us. That is why our process is simple and straightforward. So if you are sure you really want to learn the Power 40 Scientific Trading Method, which is not the same thing with what you find in any other school, claiming to also offer you trading training, then you have to show that you are ready to commit to the training. And that is why you make your security deposit of $200, which is fully refundable if you pass our training. But if you fail our training, of course, that becomes our money for the time we have invested in you. Our training is not complicated. Our training is following instructions, simple. So if you follow the instruction, you pass the training, it gets you back your $200. And after that, you now get working opportunity. We create 3 client accounts for you, fund them, and then we expect that you will continue to obey instruction, play by the rules just as you did during training, so that you get paid weekly $50. And this seals a permanent relationship between you and us. And we are sure that we have someone who will be part of our growing mission, okay, to reach other professionals and help them earn steady income. So if you have any question about the Power 40 Scientific Trading Method, a fully online school for anyone who is willing to learn and they specialize in the asset we specialize in PSL lottery trading community, then you can ask your questions and I will be answering your questions. Okay, you can use your voice notes so that I can easily respond to you quickly. Thank you.
Okay, so for the $100 seed funding program, you walk in with $100 seed and you walk out with $5,000 funded capital in your own account, and you can use this money for your business, for your travel dreams, and for your ambitions. So come this Friday, send us your name, your email, your location and occupation to the WhatsApp number 0903 428 4705 to book your seat with us. See you when you come. Bye bye.